I think that when we started developing the league itself, we kind of considered ourselves revolutionary nationalists as an ideological outlook. We considered ourselves part of a nationalist movement that represented blacks, but we didn't see ourselves as no cultural component of that. So we saw ourselves as something like revolutionary nationalists. That we saw that our battle got to be to try to seize control of this production some kind of way for some relief. We also saw the question of the resistance we had to do with the union itself. We had classes on Sundays. We'd have 30 to 40 workers come to classes studying Marxist classics. We had 14-year-old students reading Capital. So we had a broad swipe of educational materials that we were educating ourselves about the international movement, about Marxism in general. I early on had visited Cuba, and had went through a real revolutionary transformation for myself. There in Cuba in 1964, we met with Che Guevara. We played baseball with Fidel Castro. I met Muhammad Babu, who led the revolution in Zanzibar before Zanzibar and Tanganyika was united to Tanzania. I met revolutionaries from all over the globe in Cuba. So I did a real revolutionary personal transformation in Cuba. And we came back, we attempted to try to teach all those tenets to the students and workers that we had. And surprisingly, they attended classes faithfully on the question. So they clearly understood. And sometimes, it's like having a twofold movement, right? And you we standing out in back talking to people sometime, and they tell me, most people call me Jen. They said, Jen, explain to this guy what our program is. And I started talking about knocking down discrimination and getting rid of this ridiculous form. He said, I don't mean that. I'm talking about the real program. So then I had to talk about the overthrow of capitalism as a system, and understanding that all this productive might of society needs to be in the hands of working people, for their own benefit. So you'd have to understand who you're talking to in the process. But I just wanted to let you understand that it was quite prevalent amongst real core workers that we had in leadership positions in most of the factories and amongst the students. I think that theoretical basis was the basis of us sustaining our movement. Had it just been a regular reform movement, living for the gains that you could get day by day in the movement, then it couldn't have sustained itself. I think it was the overwhelming outlook and vision that gave it ability to sustain itself.